evening, everyone. I hope you're well. Adam Holmes here. I'm a songwriter from Edinburgh in Scotland, and I've got about 1 million followers. I've made about 10 of my own albums. I've produced dozens of albums for other people, and I'm on here today to speak with you about confidence. Quite simply because it's an area that I know a lot of people really struggle with, and it's an area that I've managed to build my confidence, right? I didn't start particularly, I've always had a degree of confidence, but when I think about what really built my confidence, it's more something that's come to me later in life. And I do think that, honestly, part of it could be literally just getting older. Like I'm 35 now. When I was 20, I really felt like I didn't have a skin and like things were just sort of harder. So I think there is a degree of just your physiology and a degree of kind of just getting more comfortable within yourself. But I wanted to give some practical steps and tips for people who are experiencing low confidence, because it's really the one area that if you improve it, every area of your life gets way better. And it's a skill. It's not something that actually is God-given and natural. It's something that comes from a few basic principles. And the first and most important is how you manage risk, right? Most people think of risk as something negative, right? As something to avoid. And I want to offer you the perspective, actually, risk is something that is good if it's managed, right? Risk is like, that's a horrible drawing of fire, but risk is kind of like fire. You can either cook a meal on it, or you can burn your house to the ground if you don't use it correctly. That said, you can't cook without fire, and you can't find success or confidence without risk, right? So I want to encourage you, rather than thinking about risk as something to avoid, I want to encourage you to consider risk as something that is part of confidence. It's it's one of the table legs of confidence, right? Let's just say confidence has different table legs. Risk management has to be one of them, right? How you manage the risk in your life. Life's risky. Life's always going to be risky. You're never going to experience a life without some kind of risk. So instead of trying to avoid risk, you want to become more competent, more confident at managing risk. And that ties into our second leg, right? Competence. Confidence comes from competence. So the more you repeat something, especially something that you initially find challenging, the more you develop competence. And the more competence you develop, the more confidence you experience. Okay, another table leg of confidence is, and the most important, courage. The ability to be courageous, right? Which is what, when you really think about it, is actually just willingness to feel. That's all courage really is. It's just the willingness to feel emotions and take action in the face of feeling negative emotion. Because if you want to step out on a stage, or you want to build your social media or start your business or whatever, you need a lot of courage. And many people mistakenly think that courage means to feel brave, to feel confident. Actually, It's just the willingness to feel anything at all and go through with it. So let's actually say, let's make the fourth leg, let's just make it willingness, which you could also call a kind of openness, you know, to some degree, the ability to open yourself to all of the different experiences of life is truly what makes you confident. And what's interesting about that actually is I want to talk about the word failure, right? I always loved the saying, fail forwards. That's a beautiful saying. Why? Because success is the ability to go from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Now, I've made 10 albums, but before I made those albums, I made lots of EPs. I remember the first EP I made, I saw a guy on a stage and I thought, that'll be me in a year. I'll just be out there, you know, living my best life, famous, making loads of money, singing. And obviously I wasn't, because that's not how life works. God had to give me enough challenge to develop the skill set I needed to develop. You know, I spent thousands on Facebook ads before I got working. I gigged for a decade before I felt like slightly like I knew what I was doing. So the ability to fail and not make it mean anything about you and keep moving forwards is absolutely crucial in developing confidence. So let's just say that you want to really supercharge your confidence, right, in a short amount of time. There's a few things that I'm going to recommend that you do. And if you do these things, you can expect your confidence to increase by probably 90 to 100% in about 12 weeks. The first one is pick 3 things you would never do, right? Pick 3 things you would never do. Is that posting on social media? Is that taking a boxing class? Is that going into a gym? Is that going in a calorie deficit and losing body fat? Is it skydiving? Is it, I don't know what it is, but you'll know for you when I say pick 3 things you would never, ever, ever do. And then you're going to make a plan to do them. Say if they're bigger things, you can't just do them in 12 weeks. But if they're like, go to a gym or sign up for a gym or whatever, you can do that in 12 weeks. Or you can make a plan and put it in the calendar. I'm going to do my first skydive on the 4th of May, 2027 or whatever. Either way, you're going to pick 3 things you would never do. And you're going to do them. The second thing you're going to do, and this is crucial, is create a boundary. There's somewhere in your life right now, and just think about it, you'll know what I mean. There's somewhere in your life that you're not creating a boundary with someone, and it's taking up your energy, it's taking up your time, and you don't have the headspace that you want to have to put into the things that you want to put in, because you're too busy trying to micromanage other people's emotional states. And so who's that one person? What's that one situation where if you put a boundary in place, you would actually feel like you were accepting yourself? So much of the time we're trying to accept everyone and we're actually kind of rejecting ourselves in the process. So that's the second thing you're going to do to increase your confidence. So the first thing is pick 3 things you would never do and do them. The second is have boundaries. Create boundaries with one person that you've wanted to create boundaries with for a long time. And the final thing is, so this is really simple but true, is work out physically. You can't expect to feel confident if you don't feel confident physically. And it doesn't need to be, and obviously, by the way, this is if you're able. If you're not able, then, you know, that's not who this is for. Who I'm talking to is people who don't work out. If you're not working out regularly, of course you don't feel confident. Your body needs to regenerate, your cells need to regenerate. You need to push yourself, and that's going to make you feel confident. It's going to make you feel like you have more energy, and it's going to increase your sense of confidence. So that's a little practical video on confidence. Hope you liked it. Please do come and join my club if you want to join the club. All you need to do is click the top comment on YouTube, or if you're watching this on Facebook, just comment club and I'll send you a link. Catch up with you soon, guys. Take care. You can also apply to work with me on an album if you want.